latest episode of the Kansas Moonshot Podcast, where we are shining the spotlight on amazing things happening in schools across the state. Whether you're one of the Mercury, Gemini, or Apollo schools launching some amazing redesign plans, or a teacher trying to do something a little different, I want to share your story. The goal is to celebrate the awesomeness all around us. This week's guest is middle school teacher Amy Hillman at Santa Fe Trail Middle School in Olathe. She shares all about the launch of the Saturday Scholars program years ago at Santa Fe Trail, how it has evolved over the years, and some of the results we've seen. Check it out.
Hey y'all, this is Amy Hillman coming to you from Santa Fe Trail Middle School here in Olathe, beautiful Olathe, Kansas. You just never know what the weather's going to give you here. I'm here with Josh Stock, and we're going to talk a little bit about Saturday Scholars, a program that began 11 years ago, and I want to give you a little background. The story of Saturday Scholars, we call the M3, Mentor, Motivate, and Move Them Forward program, began 11 years ago when I began my work at Washington Elementary right here in Olathe. Our school was a beautifully diverse population that did qualify for Title I status. As a science teacher placed on a team, I noticed that my students were lacking in many of their basic math skills. More than half of my students were English language learners, and this may seem like a roadblock to you, but it became a strong push for a program designed by a few innovative and, oh my goodness, caring students and me. One simple question was asked. Miss Hillman, could we meet up here on Saturdays and have you teach us math? Come on, Miss Hillman. We can help, stated Miss Ayel and Yvette. My answer came out way before I could even ask permission, an emphatic yes. After we received clearance from our administration, we knew it would take data, innovation, time, patience, and you guessed it, food. This first year, the team of 2 students and I designed lessons that were clear gaps in the students' learning. We used an each one, teach one mantra to teach our other students and give them time to practice in a non-threatening way. Definitely a highly supportive manner. Whiteboards, math games, and contests became part of our Saturday rhythm. Oh my goodness, and Mr. Hillman, well, he would cook a big old breakfast, and we had snacks to keep us going. Our ELL students were met with a blend of Spanish and English to help them bridge the language barrier. Saturday Scholars convinced over 15 students that first year that math was something they could feel confident within. And y'all, more than that, how powerful mentorship can be. You see, currently I am the head of Saturday Scholars M3 program here at SFT. This year we're serving a little more than 70 students. These are 6th graders and 7th graders with over 50 volunteer teacher leaders. Now, these are our students. Our students are chosen and invited based on a few indicators for this program. Some of those indicators are math skills, maybe a need for mentorship, their ELL status, their at-risk status, lack of confidence, and some kids just need leadership training. Our teacher leaders, now these are the volunteer kids, the big kids that are actually the teachers on the weekend, are made up of current 8th grade AIM students, high school 21st Century Academy students, pre-teaching lab students, local college students, and graduated volunteers. Check this out, y'all. Graduated volunteers come back. 80+% of our volunteering leaders are returners that actually were part of the program. 80%. They're coming back to give back. Now, our certified teaching staff includes only 3 people, but I tell you what, they are award-winning instructors. They are responsible for our curriculum, our teacher training, and all of our scheduled activities. You see, Saturday Scholars has found a need, and y'all, we filled a need, and it continues to grow stronger and more responsive each year. The win-win focus of our program allows students to grow and give back to their community while building teaching skills in our teacher leaders. It is our philosophy that no matter what you do within this life, the art of teaching others creates a strong sense of community. We pride ourselves in the time spent teaching all of our teacher leaders effective teaching strategies and have them practice and open their minds to the idea of becoming educators. You see, our beautifully diverse SFT students may then come back as educators for us. And y'all, that is a win for our students and all of our teaching community. Within the Saturday Scholars model that we currently are using, we fill our students' day with STEAM, science, technology, engineering, the arts, and of course math. From breakfast in our morning Harambe circle and its iconic handshake, to our learning experience that include map-driven math activities, hands-on engineering science lab work, coding lessons from the University of Kansas, leadership lessons provided by our administration, and high school theater departments, physical fitness, capoeira training, and lessons in growth mindset. The M3 model reminds each of us that learning is not about remembering stuff as much as it is knowing that when we mentor and remain motivated, we will indeed move forward in our learning and success. Within the last 3 years, we have been able to track the success of our program by requesting and receiving feedback from our classroom teachers about each student and their confidence and connectedness within each teaching day. We have been using student MAP scores as a pre- and post-indicator for success.
Quick side note about the MAP test. Just to clarify, MAP is a test created by NWEA, and so I'm going to read this directly from the site, so make sure I don't mess anything up here. So MAP is a computer adaptive test, which means every student gets a unique set of test questions based on responses to previous questions. As the student answers correctly, questions get harder. If the student answers incorrectly, the questions get easier. By the end of the test, most students will answer about half the questions correctly. Basically, in my own understanding of it, the MAP test is a test that we give in our district 3 times a year, once in the fall, once around winter break, and then once at the end of the year, just to track students' progress in both reading and math.
The results are stunning. Each year, our students have grown. Now, just last year, the average Saturday Scholar student gained 5 points between winter and spring results. The highest was a student that gained 14 points. Now, there are many variables that could influence these test scores, no doubt, but I have to believe that the program had a strong effect on these successes. Each Saturday, our scholars take a quick 2-minute evaluation of the skills and then a performance check at the end of our session. Our teacher leaders are surveyed each week to give feedback about the student and their experience from the day. This information includes connected points, likes and dislikes, breakthroughs, effort, motivation points, attitude, accomplishments, and challenges. Now, this data is shared with classroom teachers and is available to administrators, and they have used it. We have found that this information is invaluable as Saturdays are typically a non-threatening experience, and our teacher leaders have a strong connection with their learners. If you are wondering what happened to Miss Ayel and Yvette, you know, the two that started the program with me, they are both still volunteering on Saturdays when their busy schedule allows for it. Miss Ayel graduated at the top of his high school class and summa cum laude of his KU engineering program, full ride no doubt, and he is currently working for Kiewit Engineering firm here in Kansas. Now, Ms. Yvette left high school knowing that she wanted to become a teacher. She set her eyes towards the military to serve the country as a U.S. Marine, and yes, she did. Yvette and her husband Josh, of whom is currently serving as a Marine, well, they both decided that it was important for Yvette and their baby Gio to come home to Olathe, and Yvette is now enrolled in educational classes to become the educator that she always wished to become. Each year we walk away from our M3 program more invested and ready to design it for our next set of learners. When we step away, we know that we have created moments that will reside in our scholars and that we made a positive change in their educational experience. When our students walk away from our last session, There are always tears from our scholars and our teacher leaders. Now, these are happy tears. These are grateful tears. And these are tears that represent something greater than ourselves.
All right, so that was a lot of great information. I love it because it really gets people a really good, that heartfelt piece of the program. So let's get down to some of the logistic pieces of it. So if I'm a teacher and I think this is amazing, I really want to implement this in my school district, what would a teacher do to kind of get started? What would that launching point look like?
The program starts small, and you have to have it start small because you have to grow it. This is nothing that happens in 1 year. I would probably base this whole idea on building it first year, get the concepts down, get all of your stakeholders to believe in it. You know, this is grant writing. It doesn't take much. I mean, for the first several years, we always volunteered. Even as certified teachers, we always volunteered until we kind of proved that it can work. And then all of a sudden, everyone jumped on, even the district jumped on board and was like, oh, no. We're going to go ahead and pay y'all for those Saturdays. And that was nice to be able to offer that to my certified teachers. But this type of program begins, first of all, with the mentality of a win-win. We have students that we know need connectedness in a non-threatening, very comfortable way. We have high school students that need e-hours, that need volunteer hours, and many of them we want to have come back and become educators for our students that are coming up. And so to me, it's the beautiful win-win of students, mentorship, connectedness, and practice. So many of our students that are sneaking between the cracks, it's all about they don't have that connected feeling. Now, we can teach all the SEL lessons that we possibly can, but if the kids are not practicing what that social, emotional feels like and having an exchange of those experiences and exposure, it's not going to stick. Saturday Scholars allows them to have one big kid sitting next to them in a non-threatening way, talking about some of the scariest stuff in their world. And my goodness, believe it or not, it's fractions. It's division. It's multiplication. And my goodness, nothing's better than when a kid has a breakthrough on a Saturday. And then Monday morning, they run into the math class, the one that they usually try to be late for. And they're running in because they can't wait to be celebrated and to celebrate their success. Seems like little pieces, but my goodness, all it is a moment to have the students pivot to look at something that was so difficult to now something that they can not only chew on, but to actually be successful in. Saturday Scholars, to me, is that perfect blend of time, Saturday mornings. And what we found here at SFT and also at Washington, our kids were sitting at home. Mm-hmm. You know, here's the reality of so many of our kids in class. Several of them have soccer on Saturday morning. They have dance class. They have, jujitsu class. They have things that are high expense, and they get to do all these incredible moments and take classes. But we have a good 60 to 70% of students that on Saturday mornings, they were sitting at home watching cartoons and eating Pop-Tarts. If I can promise a parent that they can have more connected time, which, by the way, I didn't even get into the parent buy-in. Holy moly, parents 1,000% want this for their child. We have quotes, we have written out surveys, and they have sent them back, thanking us, applauding us just for even designing the program because they know how powerful this moment can be. But we know that instead of sitting in front of the tunes and in front of the iPads and in front of the games, that they can come in and have some face-to-face time, what I call real face time, with a student that actually is now going to be an educational leader in their life. There's nothing like it, Josh. I mean, I wish everyone would take a moment and just ponder, just think of the possibilities for just 7 to 10 kids the first year. And then start growing your volunteership. I'm telling you, I can teach you the tricks. I got all the paperwork. I can get them involved.
Now, nothing's done on accident. And so I know like every piece of the program is designed to help get their brains firing. And so can you touch on, I know water is a big focus.
Yes, sir.
And I also know that you're constantly getting the kids moving. You have those exercise breaks, those different movement breaks. So explain a little bit about the philosophy behind that.
In my background, I have enjoyed exploring and being exposed to incredible brain technology. As an educator, it's like being a mechanic. For me to understand the students, I have to see what's under the hood, literally. And to understand how a preteen's brain works all the way up through middle school and high school and even collegiate level brain work, it's phenomenal, Josh. It's like literally their engine. So if we are training students that learning is part of their journey, I also need to teach them how to take care of their engine. That is a big piece. Water is a huge piece to me. Hydration is so much what our students don't realize they are not getting. On a Saturday, 2 water bottles is what's expected. My students will be carrying a water bottle everywhere, and these are the big kids and the young kids too. The reasoning is that if I can train them on a Saturday how powerful it is and how that hydration will wake them up and they can trust the water system to actually have their brain, well, I hate to use the pun, but act a little more fluid, they're more aware. And they actually feel like I'm almost giving my engine what it needs. Teaching them the language of taking care of their body and their brain is part of what we do on Saturday Scholars. Exercise, now we're not talking about 45 minutes, 3 hours exercise. We're talking brain breaks that count, using big muscle groups that count. We have a PE coach that teaches everything from HIIT activities to the fun mat ball all the way to Brazilian capoeira. Having the children try something new, realizing that movement is what they should be doing. Get their faces out those screens. That's a whole nother conversation. Boy, don't get me started on the screen time. But I do know that Saturday Scholars, our use of technology is very small. We might do a Nearpod that's designed by one of our curriculum designers that we implement based on the mapped scores and such. But honestly, it's FaceTime, man. It's FaceTime. Water, exercise, understanding what music can do for them and to them, good, bad, and indifferent. And man, there's nothing like a high five. There's nothing like a cool little handshake to remind yourself the humanity of a Saturday morning volunteership. So it's what we do, man.
And one final piece to this that I know you have your core group that is designing the lessons, putting things together, but I think one thing that people who are trying to launch this, sometimes having that Saturday, giving up that Saturday morning on the grand scale, multiple Saturdays is tough. So I know you've been really good about, okay, so we've got this core group that's going to be consistent, but you pull people in. I know I came in for one Saturday. Mr. Leibel, the principal, came in for one Saturday. So describe how you get people to come in. You have some very good persuasive techniques to get teachers on board.
Yes, here's the deal. When you're passionate about something, you know it works, you grab the best of the best people. When you have administrators that all day long have to have a clipboard, they're trying to get to kids, they can't get that kid connection. I know our admin here at SFT love to be invited in because all they get to do is teach and connect. They don't have to worry about the admin pieces. They're just there to teach the leadership, to actually connect with a few students that next week. Now, these are kids. Remember, our Saturday Scholars are this incredible group of kids that are willing to give up Saturdays, that have families that are backing us up, but they also have pieces that aren't being met. And this is why we're using Saturdays to heal those gaps. Our admin wants to be part of that process. I got Mr. Stock over here, Mr. Language Arts man, that on the side is like a robotics professor. He gets to ignite their ideas on a Saturday morning, and they're like, dude, you're like language arts teacher. What are you doing knowing all this coding stuff? That's the brilliance of a Saturday. You catch them off guard. You hook them. You get them excited. Having admin come in is wonderful. We have people from the district that come in and want to interact with our students. Let's expose them to the different academies of high school. We've had the high school kids come in, theater groups come in, and teach them how to speak and how to make eye contact and how to shake hands. Ladies and gentlemen, on a Saturday morning, when they could be sitting there and playing a video game and eating Pop-Tarts? Oh, no. We are using opportunity and equity as our genius point for Saturday Scholars. And man, there's nothing like it when you walk away and go, we actually had kids pivot today. Now they understand that they can be successful where they didn't understand that a week ago, a day ago, 5 minutes ago. And they have people that believe in them. It's not that hard, Josh, but I got my persuasiveness.
You are very good about inviting us in, but it's an invitation / you'll be there on Saturday.
That's right. That's right. What time are you showing up on Saturday?
You don't ask, would you like to come in? It's, hey, what time on Saturday do you think you'd like to come?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And what do you need, sir?
Yes. But, it's been a truly rewarding experience. And from a teacher perspective, it was great to do something other than language arts. Like you were saying, it was nice to step out and do something that I enjoy on the side and bring that in and have that connection with those kids. And now what was great is I see those kids in class and we can have that little side connection that not all the other kids have, which is also makes it a little bit more meaningful, having that little, hey, you remember that when we did this one activity in Saturday Scholars? And like, oh yeah, I remember that.
That's right. Those little pieces make the days, during the regular Monday through Friday, the kids have something to look forward to that will be different on a Saturday morning. The reality, Josh, is that within our classrooms, we know there are inequities. And we're not saying haves and have-nots. That's not what we're saying. Inequities are when students, it's not about leveling a playing field. We just want them up on the field with the same tools. And so Saturday Scholars is a way for us to fill their backpacks with the tools that they're going to need, because they're going to have to compete just like the kids that get to go to dance class on a Saturday morning. Equity is strong here at SFT because we're willing to do what it takes. And with redesign, it's been a beautiful natural fit because of our exploration, making sure kids that are empowered just by exploring our world. And as long as that's at the forefront of where we're moving, I know SFT kids will benefit from it.
All right, and are you okay with, so if a teacher really wants to develop this, or a principal hears this idea and thinks it's great,
yes,
and wants to reach out to you, is that okay if they reach out to you?
100%. Email me. Once we email, we can exchange digits, and I can, we can meet over coffee. I'm a big coffee fan. And I'd love to let's grow a few more of these. Mm-hmm. It pays off in droves for very few dollars on our side. But my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, if we can grow our next generation of educators that literally mirror our students that we're teaching, what a beautiful way to make our classrooms just that much more diverse. I think it's going to make us even greater.
Excellent. And so I will include your email address in the show notes so people can reach out to you. And that is it for this episode.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate
the
time.
That's it for this episode. One final note. Over the past 5 years, I have organized a program called Books for Backpacks in my district. The goal is to get new books to kids who might not be able to purchase new books on their own. There's nothing quite like getting your own brand new book. The pages are crisper. They've got a different smell to it. It's a lot different than getting a secondhand book from half-price bookstores or the library. Now, the goal of this program is to purchase books that I send out to those elementary schools. Last year, we sent out over 500 books to 16 elementary schools in the district. Our goal this year is to give away another 500 books. If you would like to donate, consider clicking on the link in the show notes to the Olathe Public Schools Foundation's Fund a Need grant page. Or go to olathepublicschoolsfoundation.org/fund-need. That's olathepublicschoolsfoundation.org/fund-a-need. And search for Books for Backpacks. Thank you for any support you can offer with this. For more information about this episode, check out my website, MrStockRocks.com. If you know someone doing something awesome in their classroom, let me know about it. I'd love to have them on the show. You can email me at teachlikeaninja@gmail.com or follow me on Twitter at teachlikeaninja. You can follow me on Instagram as well at teachlikeaninja. Are you noticing a trend here? I've been your host, Josh Stock, 6th grade language arts teacher and self-proclaimed awesomeness expert. Until next time, look it forward and be awesome.